Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans. 1973-76 Carryover League, another opening day. Back in the American League. Intriguing battle today between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers. We know the Toronto Blue Jays don't even exist during this timeline, but they put together a pretty effective and clever, I guess we could say, expansion team that competes rather well, which is a little disappointing if you're the fans of the Orioles, Red Sox, or Yankees. They were expecting to walk all over these Blue Jays, and they're not. It's not happening. Milwaukee, on the other hand, has really slow burned the buildup of the Harvey's wall bangers. They're still putting this thing together. It's going to take a few more years. They have Hall of Famer Robin Yount on the team. They just had a couple more pieces this past draft, Sixto Lezcano, but they still got a long way to go. Blue Jays at Brewers from County Stadium in Milwaukee. We'll just get right into this thing, folks. Ace for each team on opening day. Toronto went out in the offseason, made a trade with the Cubs, and acquired Bert Hooton. 1975, his first year with the Dodgers, not. Now he's with the Blue Jays. 18-game winner, 3.06 ERA, and 235 innings. It remains to be seen if the Blue Jays get to hold on to Hooton, or if they deal him to the Dodgers by the late 70s when he's pitching in the World Series for them. So we'll see how this happens. That's what these expansion teams have to do. They got to get chips and then trade those chips for something more attractive. Milwaukee will send Jim Colburn out there. 20-game winner in 73, 3.18 ERA, 314 innings. Hooton's a starter 7. Colburn's a starter 8. Looks like it's going to be a nice pitching day here in Milwaukee. Leading off for the Blue Jays, Rich Coggins, 65, flies the center. Gary Sutherland, 3.6 is a walk. By the way, those two guys are new. Toronto went out and dealt Jerry Royce in the offseason in Portland to get Rich Coggins and Gary Sutherland in return. And there you are, as the Blue Jays are usually offensively challenged. Runner at first for Ed Kranepool, 55, second X. Second baseman is Daryl Thomas, a 3E22. These are all new players, by the way. It's a GBC. Daryl Thomas, I mean. Runner at second, 2 outs for Mike Lum, All-Star, 2-6, grounds at first. Yes, Mike Lum has been to a couple All-Star games as the Blue Jay representative with his really good 1974 card. We might see it. Bottom of the first. Leading off, and again, a new guy, Sixto Lezcano. 49 is a walk in his Major League debut. Steve Hubley, 3.6 is a K. Pat Kelly, 57 is a K. And batting cleanup, also known as the best player on the team, George Scott, 2.8 is a K. Top of the second, it's Cleon Jones, if you're wondering. Yep, former Mets, Ed Kranepool, Cleon Jones are still here. Don Clendenon retired, Tommy Agee was traded. So we still have 2 Mets left. Cleon, 59, rolls the second. Jerry Hairston, 49 is a K. And Milt May, 1-6, triple 1-6. Base hit. Dave McKay, here's a rookie, 35, grounds are short. And actually, Dave McKay played for the Blue Jays. So there is that. We try and forecast that if it occurs. Looking at the team, they have Doyle Alexander and Tom Underwood. They both were Blue Jays. The rest, not so sure if they really ever were Blue Jays. Bottom of the second, John Briggs, 58. Single 1-9 off Hooton. Lines out. Tough card. Tough on lefties. Daryl Thomas, 110's a base hit. Darrell Porter, 35 is a K. And Robin Yount, 2-6 is a grounder to short. Hang on. I got to always double check this. Yes, you're holding the runner, so that's a single. That was a plus. I got to make sure there's no slip through the cracks in my haste. Try not to be too hasty on that stuff. So they were holding the runner. Ball gets hit through the hole. Now you got runners on the corners. Thomas at third. Yount at first. Number 9 hitter, Tim Johnson, playing third base today with Yount playing short. 67, that's a Bert Hooton strikeout. Top of the third, it's Daryl Cheney. 1-9 rolls to first. Rich Coggins. 69, flies to center. And Gary Sutherland, 64, third X. Third baseman is Tim Johnson. 4E30. Ooh. Oishk. Oof, dame. Base hit. Ed Cranepool, 58. Is a line out to third base. Bottom of the third. Lezcano, 1-5. Let's take a look at a youngster. 6-2 Lezcano. I think we had the 75 card. Didn't put it in the league. Wasn't that great. 76 card, yeah, it's good enough. Definitely good enough. 285 hitter, 51 walks. Power's not quite there yet. Actually, has a higher batting average versus righties and lefties. We prefer that as a youngster. Boy, when we get to 1979, get that Lezcano card of 1979, my goodness, that's a hot one. Until then, though, 1-5 is Homer 1-11, and it's gone to the delight of the Wisconsin faithful here in Beertown. 1-zip. Steve Hubley. 1-7's a walk. The Reverend Pat Kelly. 49, second X. Second baseman is Sutherland. 326. It's a single off the second baseman. Nobody out. George Scott. 2-6. Single 1-10. Line out. And with 1 out. Yeah. John Briggs. 49. Second X again. Yeah, it's still 326. And this time it's a GBA. Nice turn there by Sutherland. Limits the damage to a single run. To the fourth we go. It's Mike Lum. 34 rolls the third. Cleon Jones, 2-6 base hit. Jerry Hairston walks. 2 on for Milt May. 2-6. Let's take a look at a catcher here. Milt May. Let's give a catcher some love. Milt May trapped. Here's a case of a guy trapped in Pittsburgh behind Manny Sanguillen. So they can't keep everybody. The best teams can't keep all their players, and expansion teams go, we'll take Milt May if you don't want him. Matter of fact, Milt May was dealt to the Astros. He also played for the Giants in his career, amongst other teams. Great hitter. Or decent hitter, I would say, especially for a catcher. This card hits you 289. 2-6 is a base hit in a center field. Cleon McJones, 14 runner. -1, he's going to run off a Hovley. And he's thrown out at the plate, trying to score and tie it. Harrison ends up at third on the third of the plate. And there's 2 outs for Dave McKay. 4-11, left X. Uh-oh. Pat Kelly's a 4-3 in left field. And he surrenders a double. Well, that's going to happen. That'll score 1 run. There's a runner at third. There's 2 outs. Daryl Cheney, 69, skies center field. 1-1, bottom of fourth. Darryl Thomas, 38 short. Darryl Porter, 55, second C. And Robin Yount, 35, double 1-3, base hit. Tim Johnson, 62, first C. 1-1 into the fifth, a low-scoring opener. Chilly baseball. Pitching has been dominant as we see the aces against aces, so it's gonna happen in the first round, in these particular broadcasts at least. Rich Coggins, 4-7 off of Colburn, is single 1-11, gets it. He is a beast stealer. We're going to do a little hit-run action with Gary Sutherland, and then runner advances. We got a runner at second, 1 out for Ed Cranepool. He pops out the first, and it's Mike Lum. 45 hits the Colburn card with triple 108. Gets the triple and the RBI. Blue Jays take a 2-1 lead. Cleon Jones, 2-6. Let's take a look at Cleon. He's still got some gas in the tank in 1974. Actually, rejuvenated. It's highest batting average since 70, I think. He hits 282. 500 plate appearances. 282 average. 13 homers, 23 doubles. His defense isn't that great anymore. But, yeah, this is good enough to get the job done for your Toronto Blue Jays, certainly. 2-6 is a base hit. That scores another run. Now it's Jerry Hairston. 1-5. Let's take a look at another guy. Might as well while the Blue Jays are hot. Here's Jerry Hairston, 1973 Chicago White Sox. Couldn't find a spot in the Chicago outfield. They went from Carlos May straight into Lamar Johnson and just ignored Jerry Hairston along the way. Kind of a shame, really. But he's here in Toronto with a 271 average, all versus right-handed pitching. More of an opportunistic split as a platoon player. So it's probably hitting close to 320 versus righties. 1-5 is your double to center field, and Cleon's going to try it again. He got thrown out last inning, and he's... this guy's got some stain. Cleon, buddy, you're not 25 anymore. He just got thrown out of the plate twice in 2 innings. Oh well. Blue Jays still have a 3-1 lead. Blue Jays have still reached base 8 out of the last 12 times and have 3 runs to show for it. It's still a lead, though. Yeah, you'd run Cleon. You'd like to see him run anyway. Bottom of the 5th here in Milwaukee. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay, bottom of the 5th. Can the Brewers respond? Back up top to the only offense today, Sixto Lezcano, 69 center. Steve Hovley, 2-8. Double 1-7 is a base hit. C. Steeler, 14 runner for Pat Kelly. 3-5's a walk, and the Brewers got something going here in the 5th. For George Scott, 39 flies to left, and with 2 outs, looking for a big hit out of Johnny Briggs. 1-7 is a K. We go to the 6th. Milt May, 65 center. Dave McKay, 54. Lines are short. And with 2 outs, Darrell Chaney, 57. Flies to right. If you're wondering about pitchers giving up hits and so forth, usually game 1 of a series, and particularly aces of the series, I usually leave them out there pretty long. I really do. Save the bullpens for the next part of the series if possible, as to not burn them out in a game 1, unless an injury occurs. So we'll see Hooten and Colburn reasonably for a while here. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, it's Daryl Thomas. 1-5, flies to right. Darrell Porter, 45, center. And Robin Yount, 410, lines to second base. Bert Hooten, this card, this card, which we showed you at the beginning, is what I call the 5 template, as in 5th best ERA on his own team, the LA Dodgers. Wow. So I'm guessing ahead of him in this particular year, you might have had Sutton, you might have had Messersmith, maybe Tommy John, maybe a good reliever, then you had Hooten. That's some quality starting pitching. It's no wonder the Dodger pitchers are strewn around baseball. Everybody just absorbs them. Doug Rowell, I didn't mention him. He should be at there. Jerry Royce, another one. All right, 7th inning, 3-1. Colburn continues. It'll be, let's see here. It'll be, Rich Coggins. 69, center. Gary Sutherland, 57's a K. And Ed Cranepool, 6'11". Pitcher X, Colburn. He's 0. And I don't roll these 0 pitchers. One of the home field advantages I just built into my game. Again, I built a lot of unique rules that I enjoy because I'm managing both clubs. So everybody's happy. I'm happy. The commissioner's happy. The manager's happy. General managers are happy. Make it up as you go, folks. It's a fun game. It's fun cards. Do it the way you want it. You don't have to stick to the rules if you're doing it on your own. Now, granted, if you're playing your buddies in the park, yeah, you want to follow the rules to a T and make sure you're both playing on the same wavelength. You know exactly which super advanced or regular rules you're using. Absolutely should be discussed before you get involved in playing somebody else. As a disclaimer that I should probably put in the introduction to all these videos that I don't. But there you go. Stretch time here in Milwaukee. We are enjoying Keep an eye on the sky. This is a compilation by Big Star, actually from Memphis. But I forget, yeah, I think the reason why we chose Big Star for Milwaukee, oh yeah, because of this song, right from the 70s show. Let's give this some juice here for you folks. There you go for Milwaukee. Okay, bottom of the 7th here in Milwaukee. They're going nuts. They're down 2 on opening day. They get the hot dogs running around. They get the Frankfurters, the bratwurst, all that stuff. In the bottom of the 7th, but Bird, who could care less? It's Tim Johnson. 65 flies to center. Back up top to Nipsto Napabu, a.k.a. Sixto Lozcano, 34 rolls to short. And Steve Hovley, 310, rolls to first. Well, that's a big come down. Rally music. Not so much today, Milwaukee. Just didn't happen in the 7th inning. We go to the 8th. Colburn, starter 8. He's had a nice day, thanks to Cleon Jones' base running. So he'll continue into the 8th. It'll be Mike Lum. 2-8. Let's take a look at this guy. Mike Lum, if you're wondering, yeah, his best year in his career, 554 plate appearances, given the opportunity, an everyday opportunity, in 1973. Yet, he's only the 5th or 6th best hitter on his own team with a 294 average and 16 homers. Because there's a trio of teammates who hit 40-plus homers, plus Dusty Baker. Yeah, that Atlanta offense, oh my God. But he has been exiled to Toronto, and he's been loving it. This is the 4th and final year we've used this card. He's been to 2 All-Star games as the best player on Toronto. Hard to believe, but yeah, stranger things. 2-8, triple 1-2, base hit for Mike Lum. Now Cleon Jones, 2-5, you saw the card, hit it again. Boy, what a day for Cleon, at least in the batter's box. Double 1-2-8. And he rolls a 16, so it's a single out dot. And the first base coach walks over to him as he taps first base bag and goes, we're going to put an anchor in your back pocket there, buddy. Station to station from here on out. The wheels, yeah, there's no advancing. Matter of fact, and I'm not going to use it here, but one of my home field advantages was, if the road team gets caught stealing twice, they take your car keys. Bartender comes over and says, that's it. Can't attempt any more stolen bases. If you get thrown out running twice, that's it. Station to station. You're not taking any more chances. I don't care. The game's on the line. Nope. Third base coach pumping the brakes. Now, I don't really do that much anymore. I sort of just do it as managing both teams, as opposed to managing just the home team. But yeah, that's something if you're, in your own solitaire league and you want to make up, some inquisitive rules, try that out. See, let me know if it works for you. Limit the base running abilities as a home field advantage once they are in peril otherwise. Okay, so we have first and third. Colburn's at the breaking point with just a 2-run deficit. And I am actually going to hook old Jim. He's thrown a lot of pitches today. It should be about 5 or 6 to 1. But Harrison can't hit lefties, and Milt May is a lefty, McKay can't hit lefties, nor Cheney. So we are going to go to the south side of the mound, and we're going to bring in another new arrival, and a very intriguing one. 1975 Al Downing, 2-1 with a 2.88 ERA in 75 innings out of the Dodger. Heard that name again. Dodger bullpen. There's another guy lost to the LA Dodgers. He'll come on in the 8th. Downing and Don Wilson were traded to Milwaukee for Mike Torres in the offseason. And Downing comes in now, not as a starter, but as a reliever. First and third, nobody out. Harrison's a DH. He will leave the game. And they're going to go to Carl Taylor as the pinch hitter. And they're going to bring the infield up as this game, they want to keep it close as possible. So Carl Taylor, here's the pitch. 2-3, pops to third. Now you got Milt May. He actually hits lefties very, very well, so he'll swing away. 1-9 is a ground ball short, but it's with the infield up. The runner's out at first. The runner at third holds. The runner from first goes to second. Second and third, 2 outs, and you got Dave McKay. Here's the pitch. 2-4 pops to second. Well, Toronto, you kind of gummed up your chances of insurance in this game, and it's just a two-run lead, and you've actually probably sent almost 8 more runners to the plate, or at least maybe 7 or 8 more. Yeah. Bert Hooton, starter 7, will continue. If he gets in, puts a couple guys on, we'll get him out of there, so he cannot absorb a loss. Defensively, can we make Toronto a little bit better? Sure we can. Sure, we can put 2 guys in there. We can get Tim Foley over to short. Daryl Cheney, let's see. Over to third? Not really. What are we going to do with Daryl? I think Daryl Cheney's... No, Dave McKay will leave. Cheney will go to third. Foley goes to short. And Ron Woods will go into the outfield. He's really good. He's a 2. Oh, Ron. He'll go in for... Let's see. Cleon's a 3. Coggins a 3-4 in center. Lum's a 2 in right. Woods would go into center field as a 3-1. Let's do that for Carl Taylor. And we'll put Coggins at DH. Or actually, no, we'll just take Coggins out of there. Make it easy. Simple substitutions. All right, 3-1, bottom of the 8th. Bert Hooton continues. It's Pat Kelly. 57's a K. George Scott, having a quiet day. 210, rolls a short. Ofer, the collar. And John Briggs, 210, grounds to second base. It's Bert Hooton day. Bert Hooton bobblehead day here in Milwaukee. A solo homer to Lezcano, and that is it. We go to the 9th. Cheney, the third baseman, and then probably a pitching change. Daryl Cheney, 48 Ks. And that'll pull Downing after 4 outs. We'll go Bill Champion. Bill Champion will come on in the 9th. See if we get the last 2 outs. He is an off-season acquisition. 74 Brewer, 11-4, 361 ERA, 162 innings. Would be in the rotation, but hey, they got a great rotation, does Milwaukee. Colburn, Travers, Wilson, Slayton. No room at the end for Bill Champion. Till now. He comes in the 9th inning as a swing, long reliever, swing starter. Face Ron Woods. 57 is a second X. Second baseman is Daryl Thomas, 322. Makes the play. 2 outs. And it's Gary Sutherland. 48 flies to center field, bottom of the 9th. Now, another former Blue Jays no longer on the team. Joe Grisenda used to be the Toronto closer, had been to a few All-Star games on his own. He and Lum. Now the bullpen of Toronto for closing games is sort of a committee now. They have Elias Sosa, Eddie Bain, Bob Miller, used to close games for the Pirates. Tom Underwood is more of a long starter relief type. So Hooton, as the ace of the squad, is going to go for the CG. Puts a couple guys on. We'll get him out of there. All the defense is in, of course. And it's Daryl Thomas. 5-10. Oh, there you go. Homer. 1-11 off the Hooton card. That is gone. Solo shot. Daryl Thomas. They gave him power. 6 home runs and 607 plate appearances. All but one of those were against righties, so they gave him power. And it's a 1-run game. Now you've got Porter, Yount, Johnson. It's getting a little dicey here. And I think I'm going to make the move. Might not be the smartest move. Toronto fans are probably going to hate this. Is Eddie Bain botched some games a year ago. But they're going to go with Eddie Bain. Now the Toronto bullpen. 73 Twin. We call him the lefty who gets lefties out. Kind of, sort of, maybe. With a 4.92 ERA. We'll forget we saw that. And he'll face Daryl Porter. And quickly the Brewers get on the phone and say no. Batting for Daryl, Porter, Charlie, Moore. So here's Charlie Moore pinch hitting. Longtime Brewer catcher, would be with them through their World Series year. Here in 74, he's a 245 hitter. No power, no home runs. But he will be coming in a one-run game. Here's the pitch to Charlie Moore. 110's a base hit. Always a good base runner. He's a 14 base runner, and now you got Robin Yount. And Robin will swing away. 1-7 is ground ball short B+. Weren't holding Charlie Moore. He's a D. Short B+, simple fielder's choice. Now you got C-stealing Yount at first base with 1 out. Left-handed hitting Tim Johnson. You don't want him in there. Let's just go for Ollie Brown now. But we must caution, you bring Ollie Brown in, oh boy, they're going to go. Let's take a look at Ollie Brown, the pinch hitter. Yeah, this will chase old Eddie Bain, which I don't know if Milwaukee really wanted to do that. I'd rather let Tim Johnson swing away against this pitcher to keep him in there, because Ollie Brown, 303, one of his best years ever, crushes lefties. And no, sir, that's the end of Eddie Bain. He got an out. And now we'll go to Elias Sosa to see if he can get a couple more. This is closer by committee. Elias Sosa, 73, 10-game winner, 328 ERA for the Giants in 107 innings. Later in the decade, he's an Expo. So Sosa comes into the ninth with a runner at first to face pinch hitter Ollie Brown. Here's the pitch. 37's a K. And with 2 outs, we have a guy who hit a homer in the 3rd inning. Does it again? It's a walk-off. Sixto Lizcano. Tie run at first is Yount. Here's the pitch to Sixto Lizcano. 44 wrong column. That's a home run off of... actually, it's a home run off of nobody. Let's see. No. As a matter of fact, let's check the Toronto pitching staff out. You know what? They have no 4-4 homers. Interesting. Nobody. That's a homer off of nobody wearing a Blue Jay uniform in the bullpen or in the clubhouse. 4-4 off Sosa is third X. You needed a 6-4. Third baseman is the 3E37 Cheney. Could get an error here. They do not. 337 Cheney holds up defensively, good enough to make the play. And that is the game to the disappointing folks here in Milwaukee hoping for a comeback. Just didn't happen. Came close to the ninth. Darryl Cheney with fine glove stop. And Sosa does complete the save. So there is your final score. 3-2, the Blue Jays. Again, I said, they are tough out. They want to go to the playoffs. They've been there once. 3-2 victors. Bert Hooton gets the win. Elias Sosa gets a save. The loss will be Jim Colburn. After the break, we'll give you the results of the series. In Game 2, the Blue Jays will send the lefty Clyde Wright against the lefty Bill Travers. Then when we go to the Great White North, Don Wilson, traded to the Brewers, will take the mound for the visitors versus Doyle Alexander, one of the guys who actually has worn a Toronto Blue Jays uniform. And in Game 4, if there is one, Jim Slayton for the Brewers against Carl Morton for the Blue Jays. So stay tuned. All right, folks, the results of this series, intriguing one, to say the least. My good, and kind of a marathon. There's the box score, Game 1. The 3-2 road win by the Blue Jays. Hooton, 7 hits in 8 innings, the 2 runs, and 3 runs charged to Jim Colburn, 11 hits. Let's move on and see what's happened, because we have the perfect scenario I'll explain momentarily. Game 2, Brewers get the win they needed to even it up. Toronto gets a triple by Mike Lum, who scores in the second. That's all they could get. And Milwaukee did their damage in the 6th and 7th innings off of Clyde Wright. It's a 4-1 victory. Don McMahon, 5-out save. Series tied a game apiece. We go to north of the border, as evidenced by the soundtrack in the background. And the Brewers, they get a 5-3 win on the road in Game 3. Don Wilson beats Tom Underwood, who came out of the bullpen late in this one. This thing, a 2-run homer by Darryl Thomas made it 2-0 in the top of the first. Blue Jays got runs in the 5th and 6th. Each team scored in the 7th, but in the 8th inning, it got sloppy for the Blue Jays, uncharacteristically. A single error and a 2-run double, Darryl Thomas. And this one, Don McMahon, another save. Don McMahon, if you're wondering, struggled mightily for the Brewers a year ago. Ultimately blew a save in a game that would have qualified them for postseason. It just didn't happen. So, sadly, for the Brewers. 5-3. So, game 4, we have the perfect scenario, as I mentioned earlier. Each team wins on each other's stadium, as Toronto holds home field 7-6. Not without a lot of struggles, though. They got the early lead to the Blue Jays, 3 in the first, a run in the second, and a run in the third off of Jim Slayton, who got knocked her out and yanked her after 4 innings, 8 hits, and 5 runs. Carl Morton, well, he barely made it through 5, had a 5-0 lead, and almost coughed it up completely, gave up 6 singles and 4 runs, made it 5-4. Did qualify for a win, though it wouldn't go that way. The game would be tied. Again, spotty relief on both parts until extras, when suddenly the relief pitching did very well. And the big winner in the bullpen was the closer, Elias Sosa. He had to go 4 2/3 because they ran out of pitchers. So he went 4 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Neither team was particularly inclined to bunt the runner from second to third in extra innings. Mostly because all the bunters stunk. They were like D's or C bunters, so they just said, forget it, let's try and hit this thing over. Didn't happen. Until the bottom of the 12th inning, when it was a Cleon Jones RBI single. 7-6 Toronto. We have a split through 4. So what happens in Milwaukee, folks? We've seen a lot of this year. Got a scoreless game until the bottom of the 9th. So Jim Colburn threw a 2-hit shutout, and then he's waiting patiently in the bottom of the 9th to see if he can get the walk-off win. After an out, John Briggs triples. George Scott walks. Runners on the corners, infield up, they get the guy out at the plate. A 1-2 play at the plate. However, it is Pat Kelly gets the single off of the Mike Lum defense. And Mike Lum's a 2 in the outfield. Tough single. Of course, an outfield single is single 2 bases. That scores the runner who moved up from first to second when they gunned the guy down at the plate. So what a tough way for Toronto to lose the game. Again, a triple walk and a single, you probably are going to lose or give up a run. But that's the line. Bert Hooton, 8 2/3. 4 hits, that run, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a complete game loss to Jim Colburn. But break up your Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, it came down. I break up 2 teams who claw and fight and are determined to overachieve. In this case, somebody had to win the series, and it was the Brewers. They beat the Blue Jays 3-2. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.